Tobe is a typical young man who enjoys playing video games but struggles with academics. Even throughout class, Tobe and his friends continue to play video games. Through gaming, he gains money. He connects his game to their previous butler's credit card by stealing it. When he wins a large sum of money, he uses it to go buy a brand new car for himself. He is summoned to the office when he drives to the school. His teacher wants to call his parents, but he suggests they can reduce his merits instead. His teacher claims that he is not even endowed with sufficient merits. He rejects this and declares that he would pay for a brand new neon sign. But, when his instructor tells him that he cannot buy the school, the teacher becomes furious and asks, "Why can't you be like his siblings and be a good student?" After a few more lectures, his teacher says he is concerned about how he will graduate and dismisses him. All of the pupils are crowded around his car when he steps outside, marveling at it. He drives around the town with his girlfriend and buys her food. He arrives at his house late, parks the car outside, and asks his butler to bring the car inside, while he tries to enter covertly. The butler mistakenly activates the alarm, scaring him. His dad reprimands him for arriving home so late and for purchasing a car when he enters the house, and he finds his parents waiting for him near the stairs. He claims that Tobe will soon declare bankruptcy if they continue to waste money in that manner. Tobe claims that the money came from his online gaming earnings, but his father tells him to take his studies seriously or face the consequences and walks away. His mother tells him that they only want him to focus on his studies and advises him to stop causing them anxiety. He needs to stop playing video games, and it's time for him to enroll in college. Most of the public universities reject him. He continues to be carefree and purchases a PlayStation and a DVD player so he can keep playing video games. His parents are present when he returns home after purchasing it, and they question him about his acceptance to the institution. He claims that a private university, which is not even that pricey, accepted him. Because he doesn't study, they won't waste money on him. According to his father, he should enroll in a community college. Tobe claims he has the money and will pay for himself, but his mother pursues his father and implores him to permit Tobe to attend a private university. His account has been deleted after he goes to his room to play video games during his parents' argument. He returns to the electronics store and purchases a large number of discounted DVDs. Before he ever sells or uses a DVD player, one of them breaks when he takes it home to show his parents. The store owner claims that there is no return or warranty policy for DVDs. Tobe should have known this because it is common information, which is why they are so inexpensive, and he tells him to toss everything away. He smashes a shop mirror out of rage. He receives a slap from the shopkeeper, but he flees before being further assaulted. While returning home, he offers to give his father a ride. His father declines. Tobe is given some money so he can study anywhere he likes, but when Tobe claims he is not one of his employees. Later Tobe steals his father's amulet from his home, pawns it in a store, and withdraws 100,000 baht. He uses the money to attend school. He doesn't take his education seriously and frequently skips class. When he enters the theater, he observes his girlfriend practicing. After the performance, his girlfriend approaches him but declines to go out with him since she has classes and needs to study. He visits a market where food machines are for sale and food samples to try. At the market, he amusingly pays attention to a person discussing the benefits of chestnut making equipment. He claims that it is the first one in the entire nation and was brought in from Japan. Tobe expresses tremendous interest in it and decides to purchase it despite the cost. As he arrives back home, his father gets upset and tells him he can acquire it at weekend markets for considerably less money. The following day after school, Tobe went to an elderly guy selling chestnuts and inquired about the procedure and various tea preparation methods. He keeps collecting data and seeks out more information. He employs each of these methods at home in an effort to produce the greatest chestnuts. He has his butler sample it after making his first batch, and his mother agrees that it is exquisite. They continue to munch chestnuts while his father and a buddy are in the conference. When his acquaintance inquires about the source of the delectable nuts after hearing him state that Tobe roasts them, Tobe receives praise from the friend. He purchases a space to erect his chestnut stand in a mall. At the corner, there are numerous other stores selling a variety of foods. The first day, he collaborated with his butler Tuong. When Tobe inquired as to why they sell so little, the old guy replies that he is no longer as enthusiastic and hence cannot shout as loudly as others. They must shout, according to Tobe. Tobe shouted louder, signaling with their hands and voices for people to come over. He visits a nearby market to buy clothes and runs into his girlfriend there. They chat for a bit. He becomes irate and complains that it is unjust when she tells him that she isn't compensated for her acting. He receives a call from his butler while he is speaking to her. The elderly man informs him that business is slow today and that other businesses are crammed close by. She becomes suspicious when he returns and asks who he was talking to, but he claims it was just Tuong and he wasn't being unfaithful. Tobe gets an idea when he observes individuals receiving money. As Tobe returns, he requests to relocate his store, but they tell him he cannot. He tries to say that he will quit, but they respond that he can do so but won't receive a refund because the management claims it was stated in the contract. If he wants to go there, he must sign the contract now because there will be a vacant spot at the end of the month. The manager claims that because of the good location, he will quickly recoup his rental costs. While taking his exam in class, Tobe's phone kept ringing. He doesn't pay notice at first, but eventually gets up and grabs his phone. His teacher threatens to fail him if he takes up his phone. After giving it some thought, he grabs his bag and phone and exits the classroom. After hearing the call, he rushes to the mall with a bag of chestnuts and is delighted to see a large number of customers at his kiosk on the opening day. The old man tells him to calm down when he suggests that they open more branches, but Tobe is adamant and opens another stall soon. His ex-girlfriend runs into him at his new store and claims they broke up. She doesn't know anything about him, and someone else told her about his store. She says she is concerned about his future and she requested his body to let her know, but the friend claims she was suspicious that Tobe was having an extramarital affair. The management warns that if he doesn't have a solution to fix the yellowing ceiling caused by the smoke from his stall, they would have to terminate his contract. Tobe promises to make it right. He paints the ceiling himself with the assistance of Tuong. In order to prevent disturbing the shoppers, they paint after the mall closes. He works alongside his mum to paint the ceiling at night. When security arrives and tells him to go, he is only left with a small part. Tobe pays the security guard to have extra time, but the officer returns his money and tells Tobe's mother to punish her son by ordering them to leave with all of their possessions. His mother advises him to apply for a passport the next day, but he is adamant that he will fix the issue and claims that he has time to do it. But his mother informs him that they are relocating to China in the morning. They owe a lot of money. He becomes quite irate and claims that despite being a member of the family, he is ignorant of this situation. He confronts his mother and demands to know how much debt they have, claiming that he can pay it off because his chestnut company is doing well. His mother won't stop sobbing and begs him to go with them so that they may at least be together. He gets up in the middle of having his photo taken at the passport office and tells his parents that he will live here and study. In order to receive money right now for school, he tells his father that he is prepared to work for him. The manager informs him that they cannot allow him to keep his stalls and that he must remove everything when he returns to the mall the following morning to finish painting the ceiling. As he notices several women reading something on his door, he is still laying on the side of his house. When he goes outside to investigate, he is dismayed to discover that it is a court-issued bankruptcy notice. It is removed from the door, and he deposits it in the garbage. While wandering through the market, he runs across his girlfriend. He hugs her swiftly and breaks down in tears. She advises him to quit the chestnut business and enroll in school, and she promises to support him. He concurs with her, and the two of them sat in the car eating fried seaweed that she had brought with her from home. He then decides to try seaweed as his next business endeavor. He goes to the bank to request for a loan. At first, the employee tells him that he cannot get a loan because there are already many loan applications. Nevertheless, after the employee begs to hear a narrative, the manager tells him that he only has one chance to persuade him. Tobe tells the man his entire tale and even displays the scar he received when attempting to fry seaweed. He continues by saying that although he brought a lot of seaweed, it sadly went bad. He claims to have attended a food and nutrition university where he shared his experience and received some helpful advice, such as how to vacuum seal food to prevent spoilage. He purchases a large quantity of seaweed after returning from the bank, and he and Tuong begin frying it to determine the highest quality. To obtain the ideal seaweed, Tuong examines the seaweed and tries numerous times using various methods. Tuong says they need to purchase additional seaweed. To make good on his pledge to purchase more, Tobe sells his PCs and other outdated technology. Chuong gets frustrated and says he doesn't want to continue because they have already wasted so much money, but Tobe insists they must persevere and that if they get it perfect, they would quickly recoup their losses. His girlfriend calls him to remind him that today is the last day for registration. As soon as he gets there, he registers for classes. He returns at night, while it is raining outside, carrying the boxes of seaweed. He tries to get Tuong to fry more seaweed by calling him, but he doesn't hear back. Tuong is found lying there bleeding from the head when he returns to look for him. Tobe brings his uncle to the hospital, where he waits for updates while holding a packet in the waiting room. He instructs Tuong to examine the fried seaweed since, fortunately, Tuong is well and will be released in a few days. Fortunately, he claims that this time, they are sufficient and can be sold. They began selling seaweed, and everything went well at first. As Tobe's mother calls to wish him a happy birthday, she informs him that his father needs to speak with him. His father advises him to work well in school so that they can all travel to China the following semester. He claims that he will mail him the tickets, which he has already purchased. Tobe makes his father reveal the full extent of his debt. Initially hesitating, his father eventually informs him that they must also pay $40 million, leaving him in complete disbelief. When he comes back, he finds another notice on his house. He keeps wandering in the neighborhood. Sadly, all the time he is listening to different speakers on the radio. Finally, he finds out about a company called 7-Eleven, a retail chain. He goes there with his seaweed and waits. He even practiced his speech in the bathroom, but he forgets to give his name at the reception. When the director comes, she tells him to leave his product as she will have to go into the meeting in 10 minutes. He claims that 10 minutes will do, but he still wants to present his product. Unfortunately, the director disapproves of the product, claiming that it has numerous flaws and even costs too much money. Yet, she informs him before leaving that the majority of selling begins in urban regions before moving to large cities. When Tobe meets his girlfriend, he becomes angry and clashes with her when she asks him why he won't talk to her and offers to assist him. He enters and shuts the door, leaving her waiting outside. He enters and lies next to Tuong. He begins sobbing and calls himself a jerk for fighting with his girlfriend. Tuong advises him not to lose hope and that everything would be alright shortly. He goes to the 7-Eleven again in the morning to get his parcels redone, but even after a full day of waiting, he is unable to meet the director. He exits after being quite dissatisfied and gives the security guard all of his seaweed. He phones his mother from a bus stop outside the business and complains that nothing is working for him and that his goods continue getting rejected. Everyone enjoys the seaweed that the business has strewn across the workspace. He soon receives a call from the business, and he is overjoyed to hear that his product has been accepted. He would have to deliver his goods to each of their 3,000 branches, they stated. The director gives him instructions on how to make his delivery and informs him that he will only deliver his stuff once the GMP inspection is complete. Because he is so young, they still won't issue him a loan, despite the fact that he needs a lot of money to finish his first order at the bank. He makes some money when he sells his automobile, but he is unable to get the necessary goods since they require further payment. He worries that they won't be successful this time, but Tuong insists that they shouldn't give up because nobody can predict what will happen next. They hire a space and make it ready to install a seaweed plant. They will soon undergo a GMP inspection. When his uncle claims he can buy them off, Tobe prefers to go about it the right way this time. They have some issues with cleanliness, but instead of taking action right away, they say they will fax in their conclusion later. He will resolve every issue in the factory. As soon as he learns the details, he is overjoyed to learn that they passed the inspection. Tobe is really nervous when they deliver parcels for the first time, but Tuong reassures him that everything will be okay. After considerable pleading, they agree to let him deliver his items even though they are an hour late. He has paid off his parents' debt 2 years later and is now residing with them in their previous home. Now the youngest billionaire in the world, his company is growing globally. Thank you for viewing. If you haven't already, subscribe and hit the like button. See you later.